from my home, from my drug addiction, from everything. I was a meth addict for 13 years. I've now been in recovery since February 3rd, 2017. I was in jail from February 3rd, 2017 till May 10th, 2017. And then 3 years ago today, I made the choice to move away and start fresh and start over. So we're going to talk about that today. But first, I'm going to let some people get here. And while we wait for them to get here, let's look at my little intro video, shall we? What's up, you guys? Thanks for hanging out with me this morning. Give me some likes, give me some loves, give me some shares out in any addiction groups you may be a part of, or onto your own page if you wish. This morning we're going to talk for a little while about my journey through recovery and how it began. I'm going to take you guys on a little trip back to February 3rd, 2017. We'll talk a little bit about that jail stint I did, but then I want to really talk about this day 3 years ago, when I decided to move away from home, when I decided to start fresh 4 hours away from everything I've ever known or loved. What the hell was going through my head? Honestly, I look back at that day a lot and I think, how the hell did I make that decision? How the hell did I make that decision? Because I was still in such a funk. I mean, 97 days clean out of jail, you know. I mean, jail, I counted as clean time, but it was, it's forced sobriety. But I mean, there's opportunities to get high in jail and I didn't. So I guess I count my 97 days there as the start to my recovery. And then I got out and I real easily could have made the decision to just go back out and get some meth and keep going where I was going. But so much stuff happened in that 97 days when I was in that jail cell. So much stuff happened that opened my eyes to realize that I was screwing up and that this road was not going to end anywhere good, that I was heading down a bad path. My mom came to visit me in jail. That's, of course, one of the biggest moments. I had friends who went to my house. Friends with quotations. Every time we say that, we got to remember that quotations. Friends that came to my house while I was in jail and just stole everything like I was dead. I just went in and took all of my stuff. So that really opened my eyes to realize I was surrounding myself with the wrong kind of people, the people that obviously didn't give a shit about me. And I decided there was nothing holding me back. The only reason that I was staying up there was because of my dad. My dad was in poor health. And honestly, me being locked in a drug addiction, I wasn't doing him any freaking good being there anyways. So it was one of those, I got nothing to lose, I might as well move away kind of situations, And I got a hold of an old friend of mine. Hang on, I got some pictures here. This is the main reason I'm using StreamYard and my stupid refocusing $60 Walmart camera this morning is because I got these pictures I want to show you guys. So here is the messenger conversation I had with Ryan, just a glimpse of it, the day that I got out and decided to stay clean. Hang on, let me get rid of that banner. There we go. So he said, well, you can always come hang down here for a while. That'd be wicked awesome. I said, you've offered me that for years and you know how much I love change, hate it, but I'm considering it, sir. I don't like change. Ryan said, you should. It would do you some good to get out of that area and experience some culture and sophistication. It wouldn't be much of a change. You should be used to rooming with me by now. And I said, yeah, we do get along like lamb and tuna fish. But yeah, me and Ryan, he was my first roommate when I moved out on my own after high school. So we go way back. We go way back to high school, and every time I went to jail, I had a message from Ryan saying that same thing. Dude, if you want to try it out down here, come on down. Couch is open. Come down here. I love you. My fiance loves you. Like, we would open up our home and open up our hearts to you if you wanted to come down here and stay with us and get right. And I always blew him off. Like, every time I blew him off. I was like, nah, dude, I got a new job. I want to see how that pans out. Got a new girlfriend. I want to see how that pans out. But it was all bullshit. It was always bullshit, dude, because I just didn't want to quit getting high. I didn't want to quit smoking meth. And I knew if I moved down here, Ryan was not going to allow me to do meth. That's the cold-hearted truth of it, was I knew that that's what it would lead to. And God forbid I stop doing meth, right? God forbid that. Ugh. So this time was different, as I told him. This time I was considering it. And then he offered me to just come down here for 1 week. That was a big game changer for me, because it was always come down here and stay with me. And I always had this permanent thought in my head. And when you're in an active addiction, anything that's permanent and a big change forever, like, it scares the shit out of you. So I always turned away from his offer to move down here. But then he said, you know, just try it out for a week. Come down here, look for a job, try it out, stay on the couch. If it doesn't work out, no harm, no foul. I'll take you right back up north. You can go right back to your dad's house, or, you know, no big deal. That really helped me. That really helped me make my decision, because it wasn't a huge commitment. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't like, okay, I'm going to move away and never do meth again. You know, that was a big scary thing for me to think of, you know, was I'm never going to do meth again. So when he said, just come down for a week, try it out, my little instant gratification brain was okay with that idea. I thought, hey, maybe I could give this a shot. I mean, it's a long ways. Here's a map. The red dot is where I'm from. That's Hawkins, Wisconsin, way up there, and way down there, that blue dot is Whitewater, Wisconsin. It is over 4 hours away from my family, from my friends, from my drugs, from everything I've ever known. 4 hours away. So it was a big frickin' commitment on my part, you know? And so for him to just say, come down here for a week, try it out, really helped me make the decision to actually come down here and try it out. And I got down here, and let's see, here's the post. I posted this on the page this morning. You guys might have seen it. 3 years ago today, I made the decision to move away after getting out of jail. Best decision ever. There's the post from 3 years ago. Go big or go home. I've decided to go big. I will miss everyone up north, which you all know I was walking a very bad path that was getting worse and worse. I need to focus on getting right, and I can't do that up there. If you always do what you've always did, you always get what you always got. Look at that guy busting out recovery quotes already. Why can't I hide that? There. I was gonna say, if StreamYard glitched out and I just had that and I had to like look around the side of it for the rest of the video, that would really suck. But yeah, that was a huge day for me. Today, 3 years ago today, was a huge move, a huge jump in my recovery, a huge jump in my progress towards the man I am today. I didn't start this right away, obviously. I went for a job interview the next day. They had walk-in interviews when I walked in. I went to put in applications around town is what I was doing. Putting in applications, seeing if I could make this whole thing work for me. And I went to Generac here in Whitewater, and they were doing walk-in interviews that day. Walk in and fill out an application, and you get an interview on the spot. So that's what I did. And I tried to, like, my stupid brain really kicked in right away, and I was like, oh, I don't have my information with me. And she was like, that's okay. Just fill it in. Just fill it in the best you can, whatever you can do. Just because I was like, oh, I'll take the application with me. She was like, oh, it's on the computer. You got to do it here. I'm like, oh, but I don't have my information, and I don't know, because I was still very lost in what I should do. And should I make up a lie? Should I tell everybody, make up some lies about my past and about where I came from and why I'm missing teeth and why I have such a spotty job history? Should I just make up lies and get by with this? But when she put me on the spot like that and said, just do the best you can, just fill it out quick, just get it done and we'll get you in for an interview, I didn't have time to make up a lie. I didn't have time to think of where I came from and what did I do and what's the reason for this and why am I missing work? Why is my job history so spotty? I didn't have time to make up lies. So I went to that computer and I sat down and I said, all right, I guess I'm doing this. And I filled out that application to the best of my knowledge, actual things that I'd actually done, filled it out, that yes, I lost this job because of this. And, when it says, have you been convicted of any felonies, that old feeling of I should lie, that's such a disappointing thing to admit, that I have 2 of them and they're very recent. So I was like, should I lie? But no, I didn't lie. In fact, the closest I came to lying was the fact that I wrote down as many as I could think of on my charges. And then I wrote, I know there's more. I have a very sordid past. I'm trying to start over. And I think, and I know when I went in for my interview and they were talking to me and I was explaining all this, and they seen that my job history was very spotty, that I have felonies, that I have misdemeanors, felony theft, felony possession of methamphetamine, felony furnishing a firearm to a felon, like big shit on my record. And then he seen that all of that happened 4 hours away, and that I had recently made this commitment to move away, And I think my honesty and my openness and my willingness to work on myself all really stood for itself. And they gave me a shot. And I started working there on the assembly line. My first couple days were on the assembly line, and I absolutely hated it. Like, the days just drug by. All I was doing was standing in one spot, putting a couple nuts on a thing as it went by on a generator, and then send it to the next station, and then put the nuts on the next one and send it to the next station. And then one day they came over to me and he says, "Hey Matt, they're kind of shorthanded back on the paint line. Would you be interested in trying out the paint line for today?" And I was like, hell yes, get me off of this assembly line. Yes, I will go back there. So I went back to work on the paint line. It wasn't actually paint, it was powder coat. But I worked on the load end of the powder coat line, and I absolutely loved it. The day went by so fast. Like, it was so awesome for me. Like, when you're doing parts, like, well, at Generac, it was only 100 parts at a time. So even if you didn't like what you were doing, you only got to do 100 of them, and then you move on to the next part. You know what I mean? And it really helped me. And the fact that they were only hiring for second shift, so I got a second shift job. I'd never had a second shift job before. That really opened my mind to thinking about the fact that I can make it at a second shift job, because I'm not good at waking up in the morning. I'm really not. So having a second shift job really helped me. Now, the reason I bring that up is because when my father passed away, just over a year into my recovery, my father passed away. I don't really want to get into that. It gets me all emotional. When my father passed away and I lost my job because I came up here to visit for a weekend, because I was just coming up here to see my father up here, up there, up home. I went up there to see my dad. I was supposed to be visiting for the weekend, coming back down and going back to work. And he passed away while I was there. That Monday morning before I was supposed to leave to come back down, my dad passed away. So I called my work and I let him know that I was going to take a week off, that I needed FMLA. My dad had passed away. I got to make some arrangements, and that we were going to have his funeral that Friday so everybody could still be there. We all took a week off, and that's such a hard thing to talk about, man. Anyways, after my dad's funeral, I was in a weird spot. As you can imagine, emotionally, mentally. I was just weird. My dad was a huge spot and had a huge place in my heart, of course. He's my father. He was a big helper to me getting down here. I remember telling him that I was going to come down here and asking him for a ride halfway, and how excited he got and how pumped he was that I was going to be going to Whitewater and I was moving away and I was going to be good now. I was going to live with Ryan and I was going to be good now. And he was so excited about that, And so then him passing away was really hard for me. I don't know what I was going to do. I don't know if I would have relapsed. I don't know if I would have done something stupid. I honestly have no idea what would have happened. But I don't have to worry about that, because God took that worry away from me, because on my way home from my father's funeral, I was pulled over for a cracked windshield. And I was on probation, and I was driving without a license in an uninsured vehicle. So I went to jail right after my dad's funeral. And that jail stint, as much as I thought was a curse at the time, I did just a couple weeks. But But it should have just been an overnighter, honestly. Probation was willing to let me go the next day. But while I was there, I still had so many pending charges and so much going on in my life at this time in early recovery. While I was in jail for this couple days, I missed court down here in Walworth County. Ugh, stupid, right? Stupid. And when you miss court because you're in jail, like, that doesn't look good. So I ended up sitting there for like 2 weeks waiting on getting transferred back down here. That 2 weeks in jail honestly turned out to be such a blessing, because while I was there, trying to grieve in jail is never cool. But I was put into a cell with a bunch of guys that did a Bible study every night. Like at 9 p.m. every night, they got together and did a Bible study at one of the tables in the cell. It was called the Holy Roller Cell. So I come in there, an atheist, not knowing what to believe, just over a year clean. My dad just passed away. And they put me in this cell with these holy rollers, and these guys start building me up. They start loving on me, reading the Bible with me and praying with me and talking about my dad. Like almost every day at the prayer group, they would bring, say, and Lord, please be with Matthew as he grieves the loss of his father. Please be with his father. We hope he's in a good place. And Shane, the guy that had started that Bible study, he gave me this Bible. By the way, I've shown this a million times, but he gave me this Bible. This is a cover that my mother made for it. It doesn't actually look like this. She made this cover. That's actually paper. That's paper. That's not leather. It looks leather. And then I put the cross on the front. He gave me that Bible and built me up so much that would have been so hard for me to come back down from that. Built me up telling me, hey, man, every time somebody comes through that door, you're right there greeting them. It doesn't matter if they're 18 years old, first time in jail, or if they're 40 years old and got tattoos on their face and been to jail every month. You're right over there greeting them, asking them how they're doing, and can you offer them food and just being there for them. He said that is something that can't be learned, man. You have relatability, like people relate to you. Like he told me to use that in my life, to implement that in my life, to start telling my story and to start helping other people come up from where I was. That was my purpose in this world. That was my duty, and I really took it all to heart. As you can tell. And I started the Point of Change shortly after I was released from jail there. And I started believing in religion, and I started following religion, and I started going to church every Sunday, and I started reading the Bible, and I really started to change the way I looked at my addiction and change the way I think about my recovery. And I actually started to work on myself after that, because before that first year plus in recovery was, I don't even know if I can count it as recovery time. It was stagnant recovery time. I wasn't working on crap. I mean, yes, I had completed a 12-week AODA class, and I had learned a lot about my addiction. I had learned a lot about drugs. I had learned a lot about where I had gone wrong in my past, but I was still so just going through the motions of a normal human life. I wasn't thinking outside the box. I wasn't thinking about the future. I was just thinking about this moment. And that's great to be in the moment. You know what I mean? Especially in early recovery. Take it one day at a time. Take it 1 hour at a time. Take it 1 minute at a time. Take it 1 second at a time if you have to. And that helped me a lot in early recovery, was to just take it 1 second at a time. And you realize how many seconds you have in a day. There's 86,400 seconds in a day. If you didn't know that, that's a lot of seconds. And you can do a lot of good in those 86,400 seconds every day. So I started the Point of Change, and I started helping other people. And, I did something this morning I'd like to tell you guys about. This is something I've talked about in the past. It's helped me heal on a lot of levels. Is I think about myself as 3 people. I think about myself as 3 different pieces. I think of myself as a body, mind, and soul. That helps me a lot in analyzing myself. But I also think about myself as 3 separate people. I think about myself as a past self, present self, and a future self. This has helped me heal on so many levels, to think about myself that way. It helps me look back at the past me. And this morning, I was thinking about that moment 3 years ago. I was thinking about that past me, 3 years ago today, past me made a huge decision and had to go through one hell of a time. So I said a prayer for my past self. I mean, it's in the past. I know I ain't going to change the outcome. I know there's no way that all of a sudden that it would change, and I never made that decision. But I told my past self this morning that I was proud of him, and I gave him a little pep talk and told him, that, hey, you're going to make a great decision today, and it's going to land you right here. I'm proud of you, dude. And it almost teared me up, dude, saying that to myself, thanking my past self for the decision that he made 3 years ago. Telling him that I'm proud of him. That made me feel so much better, because there's so many times I look back at past self and I'm not very freaking proud of that guy. So many times I beat myself up over having him in my life, over him being a part of me. So on moments like this, on days like today, when I can look back and I can say, man, I am freaking proud of my past self. I am so freaking proud of you, dude. Like, you did such a good job moving away. Like, congratulations on your recovery. Like, it made me feel so good to actually just vocalize that and say it. So that's one thing that has really helped me in my recovery. It's really helped me analyze myself and helped me be my own friend, is thinking about myself that way, that I am a past self, present self, and future self. Because I think about my future self, he's the man I want to be one day. I love that guy. Like, I look up to him. I chase him. I want to be him. I do things for him. Like if I want to make sure that future self has a good day today, I can do that by present self being a good friend to future self. I can get the dishes done before I go to work. So when future self comes home, he ain't got to do the dishes tonight. I can clean my house. I can make my bed so that when future self comes home, he has a nice comfy bed to get into. I can do all of these things to make sure that I'm being a good friend to myself. And that has helped me on healing levels, on a level of it helps me with my loneliness. It helps me with so many things to think of myself that way and to be my own friend, Let's see. Jennifer says, I am so happy we can do these online meetings, but I really need to go to an actual meeting for human interaction. I feel you, Jennifer. I feel you. I can't wait to get back to church. Most of you know I'm not involved in any NA, AA, Celebrate Recovery. I'm not in any of that. I haven't done this on my own by any means. I've had God, I've had my friends, I've had my support system. I've had so many things that help me in my recovery, but I'm not in a program. I don't go to meetings. I consider church my meetings. I consider my best friend to be like a replacement for a sponsor. My recovery may be different than most people's, but it still looks very much the same. And I think that lends itself to, there's a right way and a wrong way to do recovery. There is no one size fits all cookie cutter recovery. Sometimes we have to bend and make sure, make our recovery fit our life. The recovery there is no one recipe for recovery, but it's all very closely related. I have borrowed so many traditions and so many things from recovery paths that were laid out before me to get me to the point where I'm at today. And I definitely recommend you guys do the same thing. Check out the 12 steps, go to some meetings, check out CR, check out MAT, check out whatever it is out there that's pushing a good message, and check it out and just give it your own open-minded view, borrow some things from other recovery paths and create a recovery that works for you. Janet says, thanks for being transparent, Maddie. You're always very inspiring and always give so much hope. Thank you, Janet McClanahan. I love you so much. Thank you for being here. Devaney, just think, almost 3 years ago, you were doing lives in Ryan's garage. What about the care box your dad gave you? What about the care box your dad gave you? Care box. I guess I don't know what you're referring to on the care box my dad gave me. Oh, now I do. Now I do. When I moved away, my dad was so excited that I was going to stay with Ryan. And I told him I was going to move away. And he got so excited. He jumped up out of his chair. It was just, yeah, let's get stuff, go get some clothes, pack up bags, get going. Come on, we got to go. We got to meet Ryan. We got to be there. I don't want to be late. We got to go. And he put together a box of food for me that was like, it was like a bag of yellow rice, a can of tuna, 2 boxes of cereal. I think there was a loaf of bread in there. I mean, just the most mismatched just box of food, and just, here, take this with you. Here's $50. Don't spend it on dope. And took me, and we went on the ride and met Ryan halfway, And yeah, I do remember that care box. Thank you, Devaney, for that. Let's see. Lori says, no fronts, but a month sober Friday. Right on, Lori. Keep putting in that work. Keep putting in that work. Let's see, Nikki, whatever works for each of us, as long as we are not where we used to be and getting better every day, we will be okay. Thank you, Nikki, for that. You are very, very right. Let's see. Let me scroll back up a little bit, check some comments, guys. I'll go way back up. We'll go way back up. We'll say hi to some people. Pam, how are you, dear? I hope you're still here. Katie Gaff, good morning. Catherine Gavin, good morning. Renee Cooper, good morning. Cynthia Torres, good to see you. Tabby, how are you? Tim Parkinson, glad to have you here, brother. How you doing? Tim Caps, glad to see you. Renee Cooper, great choice. Thank you, Renee. It was the best decision I ever made, was moving away. Amy says, is there somebody out there I can talk to? Amy, if you want to message me, there's a button on my page to message me, but if you'd rather talk to a female or anybody in these comments, girls, there's a comment. Oh, Renee Cooper's already on it. Right on. So is Tabby. Thank you, guys. I love seeing that support in the comments. You guys are awesome. I love the fellowship we have here at the Point of Change. Like, some days I get so elated by everything, with everything that I've went through and everything that I've done, and where it's led me to this day. I really should finish my story a little bit. The whole reason I talked about the fact that I got that job at Generac and the chance of me going and trying out the paint line for a day and loving it and moving over there and starting to work on the paint line is how long that is. Like, that was an awesome moment for me, because after that I got another job working on a paint line. I never would have got my job at Space Saver had I never gotten that job at Generac. Had I not been offered that chance to go work on a paint line for a day, I never would be where I am today as the line lead on a paint line at Space Saver. You know what I mean? Like, all those little moments that lead you to where you are. And when I was really thinking about it this morning and really delving deep into it, and thinking about the fact that, hell, like, where I'm at today, like, thank God I smoked meth. Like, that's a weird thing to say, right? Thank God I smoked meth. But honestly, had I not fallen into a meth addiction, had I stayed away from drugs and lived a good life, and done the right thing, I would probably still be up north working at a factory somewhere. I never would have realized the awesomeness of working on a paint line, that I love working on a paint line. I never would have known that had I not done meth and had to move 4 hours away to recover. It's those things that tie us together, those little moments in our lives that lead us to where we are today, to appreciate those little things, even the bad things, even the bad moments, and appreciating your mistakes and appreciating that it wasn't a death sentence, that, I'm way better off today than I was before the drugs. Like, you can't go back to who you were before the drugs, but you get to move into the new you. You get to move into the person you were always meant to be. And that's more beautiful than going backwards ever will be. Let's see. Renee says, I'm moving here. I just have to go back to Virginia to get my car and my cat. What? That's awesome, Renee. Congratulations. That's awesome. Let's see. Patrice says, just for today, I don't have to use. Don't worry about the forever part. Day by day. Awesome, Patrice. Yes. Yes. Thank you for saying that. I just seen a post earlier in one of my groups. Somebody made a post and she put up her picture and said, 5 years in November. And I really hope, this was my thought, is she saying that she had 5 years last November, or was she saying that she'll have 5 years this November? Because I don't know. To me, I always like to celebrate right where I'm at, because, like, 2 days you can't control are yesterday and tomorrow. I mean, tomorrow ain't guaranteed. My sobriety tomorrow ain't guaranteed. So I don't like to challenge the universe and, like, call out my recovery date, like, oh, I'll have 4 years next February. I don't know that. And that's awfully presumptuous of me to claim that I will have 4 years next February. You know what I mean? Like, how the hell do I know what's going to happen between then and now? All I can do is do the best I can moment by moment and try to get there the best I can. But, I don't like challenging the universe. I don't like throwing that. I don't like fronts. Janet McClanahan, I so can relate, Maddie. My youngest daughter reached out to me in my first year of recovery and asked me to move with her to Texas, I jumped on the offer because where I was, I didn't have people that would hold me accountable. And I knew I needed to move in order to grow in my recovery. Right on, Janet. Thank you for sharing that with us. That's same thing happened with me and my brother, my older brother. You know, he knew that he needed to get somewhere to clean up. He's just over 2 years clean now. I'm just over 3 years clean. And it's been an amazing journey. And I think my recovery played a big role in his recovery because he's my older brother, you know? So I think a bit of it had that feeling of like, that's my little brother and he's doing right. You know, I can't be the older brother and be up here screwing off when my little brother's down there doing better than me. You know what I mean? I think that had a part in it. And I think just seeing the fact that I got away from the dope and, you know, a year later I was doing awesome, like had a job, had my own, or was living with Ryan, getting ready to have my own place. I was looking better. I was feeling better. I was being positive all the time. And I think he's seen all that and he wanted what I had, you know, so he stepped into recovery too. And now he moved down here and lives with me. And it was, I mean, all of the things that had to line up for both of us to come into recovery and both of us to move to this house and both of us to recover together and for us to get a job working together on the same shift so that we could continue to work and so that he could have a job because he doesn't have a license, doesn't have a vehicle. He's, you know, you come into recovery, you don't have nothing. So we're building him up from ground zero, you know? And so the fact that he got the job at Space Saver right alongside me, like we don't both work on the paint line. He's a welder and I'm on the paint line. But like we work the same shift, we work the same hours. So like, you know, we ride together and just the way everything has lined up in my life for me to get to this moment that I'm at right now is just beautiful. And I love it. I'm sorry if you guys are hearing the construction outside. They're putting in a new parking lot out here. Tabby says, on my year mark over being clean, my job gave me the opportunity to run a store. I'm now 3 months into my GM position. Right on, Tabby. That's awesome. Congratulations. Oh, Renee Cooper's got to run. Okay, bye, Renee. Let's see. Let me scroll down. Pam, as I go day by day, blessed to have 2,484 days in a row, one day at a time. Right on, Pam. Thank you for sharing that. Derek says, can I message you if I need to talk? You bet you can, man. After this video, I actually have a video chat to do with one of my supporters. She needs some help. Let's see. Derek says, how was it for you when you moved and started fresh? It was so hard, man. Honestly, it was hard. It was really hard for me to move away, for me to step away from not only the drugs, but my family up north, my friends up north. You know, I mean, yes, they were using friends, but there's an attachment. You know, people discredit it. We always say, you know, that the people you used with were never your real friends, but underneath the drugs, aren't they just like us? Aren't they a good person underneath the drugs? You know what I mean? So if the drugs were gone, then maybe we could have had a good relationship with those people. But unfortunately, the way it went is the way it went. But it was still hard to let go of those toxic relationships, to let go of everything I had known my entire life. I mean, I was 30 years old. I've lived up there my entire life. Like, it was 30 years worth of memories up there. That's the main reason why I needed to move away, though, because every street I went down, it was like, yep, I used to go there to get a bag of dope. Yep, I robbed that house right there. Yep, that's my old dope dealer's house. Oh, I remember doing dope in the closets in that house. You know, just every street, every house, every town is another trigger for me. It's another place where I used. It's another place where I did some bad thing. So for me, moving away was so important. It was so hard, but it was the best decision I ever made. And I'm so glad that I moved down here with the right mindset, that I didn't come down here thinking I'm just going to skate by and or screw Ryan over or do any of that. I came down here with a very good mindset. I was very appreciative of what Ryan was doing for me. I was very appreciative that he was opening his heart, opening his home, allowing a 13-year meth addict / thief to move into his home. You know, that's huge. That's fucking huge. And for him to see something in me, for him to see past all that drugs and see the Maddie that was still in there, and for him to open his heart, open his home, open his mind, and allow me to move in and give me a chance to do better. And yes, I'm sure, I know for a fact that he had fears. He had struggles with, is Maddie going to rob me? Is he going to, he even told me that the first night I stayed there, he had a hard time sleeping because he was worried I was going to get up in the middle of the night. I was going to steal a bunch of shit. I was going to steal his truck and I was going to be gone. He didn't know, but that was a fear of his, and honestly, it's a valid fear because that's who I was back then. But I was very appreciative of him giving me this opportunity, and I wanted this to work. I needed this to work. Like this, I was going to die. That's all it came down to. I'd been so close so many times. Like that was going to lead me to death. I knew that. I knew that I needed to do something different. It didn't matter what it was, and I knew it had to be bigger than just start lifting weights and read the Bible once in a while. That was other times that I had tried to get clean. And that's what I would do. I would be like, okay, I'm gonna start a workout routine. That'll keep me clean. I love these dumbbells. I'll just put down the pipe and pick up the dumbbells, and that'll be all I have to do. I will just work out. Here's my new life. And at this point, now 13 years into a meth addiction, and I just got out of a 97-day jail stint. Like I knew something bigger needed to change. Like I needed to straight up take a stick and shove it in the spokes of life and just bam, send it off its course, because the course it was on wasn't working. The way it was going was going to end up, I was going to end up in jail, prison, dead. I know that. So that was a giant motivator for me to move away and for me to make this work. And I'm glad I did, because here we are 3 years later, still down here, still Whitewater, Wisconsin. Wow. And I'm really glad I did. I'm not trying to say that I don't like to think that at any point in your recovery that you're solid. I've seen people relapse at 5, 10, 15, 20 years. People relapse all the time, So I'm not trying to say I'm solid. I'm definitely not perfect. I'm striving for progress, not perfection. That's for sure. So I'm just going to keep taking it one day at a time. I'm just going to keep getting better. Just going to keep multiplying in life and focusing on the good and just building up more and more and more, guys. Screw that going back to living a normal life. I don't want to live a normal life. I want to live an extraordinary life from here on out. I didn't come back from the dead to not do everything I ever wanted to do, and I've been putting a lot more thought into things that I want to do outside of my normal job and outside of the point of change, because I'm realizing, and most of you guys probably know, the point of change is a huge part of my life, but it's not my life. Space Saver is a huge part of my life, but it's not my life. And I think a lot more recently, I've been really starting to think about what the hell do I want to do, and I've noticed that my answer to that question for a long time has been, I want to be a motivational speaker, and I want to, build the point of change. And I kind of had this moment the other day where I was like, okay, that's great. That's a career goal. It's an awesome career goal. But what about you, Maddie? What about Maddie Jablonski? What does he want? And I'm like, well, I don't know. And then I thought of, okay, well, do I still want to be living in this apartment in 5 years? Is that where it is? If that's what I want, that's fine. If I still want to live in this apartment and stay here and do the same thing I've been doing, it's working great for me. So if that's what I want to do, then that's awesome. But is that what I want to do? And I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. So I'm going to start doing a little more soul searching and spending a little more time thinking about what the hell the future has in store for Mr. Jablonski. What the hell do I want to do with my life? Because honestly, I would love to travel. I would love to go climb a mountain somewhere and just live my life, but that's in the future, one day at a time. We're not worried about all that right now. Oh, Janet says, Charleston, South Carolina to Orange, Texas. It was truly the best decision I ever made. Right on, Janet, right on. That's awesome. Monica moved from Charleston, West Virginia to Appleton, Wisconsin. Right on. Charleston, cool. South Carolina, West Virginia, crazy. Janet says, recovery is a lifestyle for life. Yes, it is. And if you can make it work, if you can make this your life, outside of the meetings, outside of there. If you can make this your life, it's a beautiful life. Because it's not all about just getting away from the drugs. It's all about doing better. Like, period. That's all recovery is all about. Janet, Ryan was an amazing friend that truly cared about you and never lost faith or hope in you. That's true friendship. Ryan is an amazing friend that truly cares about me and never loses faith and hope in me. He has said, if ever there's a bet, I will always bet on Natty, all in. And I love that guy. You know, he's a brother to me. He has crossed over the friendship boundaries into being frickin' family. Aw, my mama says I'll climb any mountain with you. Good, Mount Kilimanjaro. That's where we're going, mama. We're gonna go climb mountains together. Let's see. Lori, I want to go on a real vacation, but COVID is happening. Remember, it's not forever. I know COVID is happening right now, but please keep in mind that this is not our new permanent. Like, we are not this way forever. Like, keep those goals. Keep them. Don't just say, well, I want to go places, but alas, I cannot because we are in quarantine for, what, like 30 more days? We're going to be good. We're going to get out of this. And then you can go places, you know? Let's see, Seattle to Montana. That is awesome, Bryce. Right on. You know, some people can recover where they used. I've seen it. That's why I always say there is no one size fits all to recovery. There is no recipe for recovery, because in the recipe for my recovery, moving away was one of the main frickin' ingredients. But in other people's recovery, that's not even on the recipe board. That's not even a thing we think about, just moving away. You know, they stay where they were. They just find meetings, they find a new circle, and they make it work for them. And I frickin' envy. I don't know if I envy anybody that does that, but I'm proud of them. I'm proud of anybody out there that didn't have to move away to find recovery. But if you did, super proud of you too. You know, either way, whichever way you went through recovery, I'm proud of you. You know, it doesn't matter how you get here. This is one of those cases where the ends justifies the means. Now, the ends justifies the means is a horrible quote that I hate saying, because it's actually from a very horrible leader that used to say that. And I can't remember his name right now, but he was just a terrible person, and that was his thing. So the ends justifies the means is not actually a good quote, just so you know. But in this case, it seems like, you know, in recovery, whatever you do to get clean, it seems to be good, you know. My mama says, I carried you for 9 months. You can carry me up that mountain with you. All right, get in the backpack, mama. Jennifer, I just stay away from people I know that are still using. Right on, Jennifer, right on. Tammy says, don't say I want, say I will. Well, see, that's the thing. I don't want to be speaking it into existence yet, because I'm still soul searching on what exactly I want. And I know the universe pretty well anymore these days. Like, we're buds. We're pretty close, okay? And I've figured out that all I have to do is ask the universe, and it will deliver whatever I ask for, you know? And maybe not in my time, maybe not when I want it, right in that moment, but the universe seems to answer to your words, you know, whatever you ask. And just be careful what you're wishing for too, because sometimes the universe likes to give you everything that you ask for all at once and make you make choices, make you make decisions of which one do you want more and which would you rather choose. Because sometimes those things we ask for, you can't have all of it, you know, and the universe will just say, okay, you keep asking for all this stuff. Here you go. Which one do you want? You know, and then it becomes even harder to make that decision. Are you doing the climb for recovery? I haven't even heard about this, Monica. Haven't even heard about it. Nobody tells me about nothing. No, but I don't know. I would love to do something like that. I don't know what that is. Pam says, I am one who's recovering where I used for 40 years. Wow, that's awesome, Pam. That is awesome. Let's see. Is it okay if I take a screenshot because of COVID-19? I have to show proof to my caseworkers. I'm at the last step to getting my kids back. Oh, okay. Yeah, you can screenshot that you're that you're here, that you're listening to my recovery page. You can definitely let them know that you watch the Point of Change and that's kind of been your replacement for your meetings. This probably isn't going to count towards anything like court ordered or anything like that, guys, coming to my videos. I don't know. There might be a judge out there or a probation officer or somebody who would be like, yes, that is awesome. And I'm sure during COVID-19, they're probably going to applaud you for coming and watching videos like this. I'm just saying that I'm not a licensed counselor. I'm not a medical professional. I'm not I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know if they're going to be like, okay, you know, who cares that you watch internet videos? I really hope that they take it into heart, you know, and that this is helping you. And I really hope they see that. Let's see. Monica says, I want to be where you are. Right on. Keep following me. It's one day at a time. Don't worry. I didn't get here overnight. That's for sure. Lori Waters says, I hate decisions. Decisions can be hard, but remember to embrace change. Remember that. This word that's, is it over there? No, it's over here. This word right back here. Embrace that. Embrace change, because that just, things always change. And if you can live in a constant state of change, but in a constant state of gratitude for that change, boy, it's a beautiful life. Janet, we can speak life or death. There is power in what we speak. Very true. Very true. There is a lot of power in here. Let's see. Jennifer, thank you. I really appreciate it. No problem. No problem. I hope it helps you. I hope they say that that's good enough, you know? All right, guys. Let's see. Travis Gilbert's group, Climb for Recovery. I definitely know these guys. You know, I know of them. Travis Gilbert, I know of him, and I know of Climb for Recovery. I'll have to go check that out. All right, guys, I am going to let you guys go. Thank you for tuning in today. I hope you guys got something good out of this, and I hope my story inspires somebody out there to do the next thing that it takes. And maybe moving away is the right answer for you. Maybe it's not, but you know, it worked for me. And I hope you don't have to do exactly what I did. I just hope you make some changes and make things work for you in this life, because this life can be beautiful if you can learn to appreciate it and learn to walk the right path and walk in your own truth. It all can be beautiful. So I hope you guys find that. I love you all so much. Thank you for tuning in today, and I will see you all tomorrow morning right here on The Point of Change at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Until then, stay happy, stay healthy, and stay clean